From the return of one of Roblox's most hated YouTubers to the horrific actions committed by these two animation YouTubers, today we will be looking at the most hated Roblox YouTubers of January 2025. Due to me going on holiday, today's video will contain some re-uploaded content, but will also cover some people that I haven't talked about on the channel yet. So grab your favorite snack and beverage and get ready for a long episode. Jokes aside, if you have already seen any of the videos I will be showing today, letting the video play out to the end really supports me and is more than appreciated. It really helps me make these in-depth videos for you guys. But without further ado, let's begin. Earlier in the month, a furry YouTuber who goes by Nitro Lord would be exposed. Best known for his documentaries on nostalgic Roblox topics, Nitro Lord gained over 150,000 subscribers before being exposed. This would all start with a video from Green Lego Cats 123 titled Nitro Lord, Roblox's all-ages furry freak party host. The video would detail how behind the scenes, YouTuber Nitro Lord would host these furry freak parties, but the worst part, it would be open to all ages. Not only that, he would run an alt account on Twitter that posted very suggestive furry content. But what made this so horrible was the fact that he had minors actively following it. However, shortly after being exposed for that, it would also be revealed that he ran another suggestive furry Twitter account called Cupcake the Pup. On this disgusting Twitter account, Nitro Lord can be seen retweeting NSFW diaper fetish art and other NSFW art, which in simple terms is basically furry child porn. The tweets get so much worse than that, but I think you get the point. This takes us to someone very notorious throughout the Roblox community, a commentary YouTuber with over 400,000 subscribers, otherwise known as Paolo. Paolo has always been in some sort of drama, whether it's false allegations being thrown at him or him simply arguing with random kids on Twitter. We always see Paolo in some sort of drama, and the drama he would get into in January of 2025 wouldn't be any different. It all started on January 26th of 2025. After exposing Podema, he would drop a video titled Roblox YouTuber Exposed, Podema vs Paolo Drama. The video would detail how Podema fans were spreading false allegations about him, as well as trying to defend Podema in his replies.
So the first thing I want to debunk is the lies spread about my Podema videos. People attempt to claim that I'm milking the situation in a desperate attempt to discredit the proof I have presented and the research that has been put into this. Or I'd like to make it abundantly clear that this channel is a news channel. With massive situations like the Podema allegations, there are going to be updates and new topics to discuss, because it is a developing subject, so that is why I make follow-up videos. That's how drama works. People subscribe to this YouTube channel to be updated on the newest information. The fact that people in the Roblox community get more angry at me making multiple videos than at Podema for allegedly committing a third-degree felony being against it speaks volumes to the morality of a lot of individuals present inside of it. Another reason why I make so many follow-up videos too is to make sure people don't forget about the situation, because the Roblox community's attention span to serious situations like these are terrible. They forget in about a week. And two, I also need to show more proof to people, because people were hesitant to believe me at first. I'd also like to clarify too that you cannot be neutral to a situation like this, especially with all the proof that I've shown in my previous videos, which you can go watch. Podema admitted to committing a literal crime in which is most certainly not protected by the Romeo and Juliet law, and his public response showed no proof whatsoever.
Following this video, somebody on Twitter would call out Paolo reading, Paolo abused multiple mothers, doxed multiple mothers, defended a predator, admitted to owning CP, tried to groom a mother, and swatted a 14-year-old and attempted a murder on them. He also falsely accused me of attempted murder towards him. The tweet, face value, seems really bad for Paolo. However, the person would just bring up the same points that XD Gamer made against Paolo a couple of years back. They would provide no proof, and it was only a matter of time before Paolo saw this. And shortly after, he would, and rightly so, would respond to the tweet. He would state, "We'll be making a massive response video to this Twitter thread filled with slander. Allow me to take some time to respond. I will be contacting a lot of people as to gather more evidence before my response to is out. I never had CP or anyone who threatened to murder." Revealing that not only is he making another response video to the false allegations that people are spreading, but would also compile even more evidence than last time to support his side of the story. However, Paolo's second response video still has not dropped and will probably debunk all of the allegations. This takes us to a YouTuber that was exposed for being a predator came back under a new alias and got exposed again, and had many of his YouTuber friends protecting him. From blatantly lying to millions of people about his horrible past, to begging an underage fan for illegal pictures to fulfill his sick desires, meet the YouTuber that managed to trick the entire world into thinking he was somebody else. However, before we get into who exactly Koofy is and the deplorable acts he has committed, we must first take it back to the beginning and learn about who he was before everything happened. Kelvis Garmanian is a 25-year-old man born on December 17th, 1999, inside of Mannheim, a city in Germany. Growing up, Kelvis would have a pretty ordinary lifestyle. He would play with other kids, go to school, and play video games. A pretty average life for most kids growing up in the late 2000s. However, Kelvis would find himself hooked whenever he was playing a video game. It was like a drug for him. He would play for hours on end, sometimes even losing sleep because of gaming all night long. But it wasn't just any old game that Kelvis would fall in love with, as during his teen years would be the same time that Roblox would begin rising in popularity, and Kelvis loved Roblox. He would find himself playing Roblox for days on end, asking his parents to buy him in-game items, and even posting Roblox videos to YouTube. This would ultimately spark his passion for content creation. His dream was to be an entertainer. I mean, who can really blame him? Not only is the pay really good, but he could work on his dream as his job rather than having to work in some factory for Amazon or something. Anyway, this love for content creation would eventually lead Kelvis to creating his very own YouTube channel. The day was a Saturday. It was July 7th, 2018. Kelvis would open a YouTube account with the name Kellogish, unknown to him at the time, but this would ultimately be the start of his career, but also the end. He would find himself posting all of the time. He would post videos on the Roblox Bubblegum Simulator, which would lead to him reaching his first 1,000 subscribers in April of 2019. And only 1 month later, Kellogish would reach the milestone of 10,000 subscribers. This is where he would introduce his YouTube fans to a new series, where he would play Friday Night Funkin' and post videos about the topic. This would also be the moment that Kellogish would fully commit to having a strictly young audience. However, the series would do well on his channel almost instantly, allowing him to hit 50,000 subscribers by October of that very year, and 100,000 less than 4 months later. The Friday Night Funkin' videos, in combination with his Roblox Simulator videos, were allowing him to reach that dream of being an entertainer, the same position that he was dreaming of since he was a teenager. And by August of 2021, Kellogish would reach the very impressive milestone of 500,000 subscribers. He was literally living in his childhood dream. He had all the money in the world, he was doing what he loved, and even Roblox would show their recognition by allowing him into the Roblox Star program with the star code Kello, which, if you don't already know, is a program for the top Roblox video and live stream content creators. But there was still one problem. Kellogish was an extremely greedy person, and after fulfilling his dream of being a content creator, it still wasn't enough for him. He wanted more. But what could Kellogish possibly want after achieving everything he could ask for? Well, this takes us to the 20th of August 2021. A Roblox YouTuber who at the time went by SpyroTunes would post a video to the platform entitled "This Roblox/FNF YouTuber is a danger to children, Kellogish." The video would start with SpyroTunes introducing himself, and although he wasn't a notable member of the Roblox community, this was someone who was friends with a lot of people behind the scenes.
First off, you probably don't know who I am. I've basically just been a background character in the Roblox community for about a year or two now. While being this nice little background character, I get to meet plenty of cool people, whether it be developers or YouTubers, all kinds of people from all walks of life. It's really good to meet all these really creative, cool people. One of those creative cool people that I met was called Pyronad.
SpyroTunes would introduce a new person into the story of Kellogish. This was a person who at the time went under the name Pyronad. Now keep this name in mind, as she is very important when detailing what happened to Kellogish. However, who exactly is Pyronad and why is she so important?
Back in 2019, she was pretty big in the Roblox community, especially on Roblox Twitter. She had a large following for whatever reason, and had lots of connections with famous Robloxians. Now with some YouTubers, she got closer with them than others. One of them, which you might have heard of, is called Caligish.
PyroNad was friends with Caligish at the time. They would meet through Discord and talk behind the scenes every day. However, unknown to both of them at the time, this would mark the beginning of the end for Caligish's career. But why exactly would this be? What did he do? And most importantly, how does this involve PyroNad?
PyroNad became close buddies with him, to the point of a strange romantic connection between the two developing. The only problem with it was that PyroNad was 15 years old at the time, while Caligish was 20.
After it was revealed that PyroNad was a 15-year-old girl, this would raise many red flags. It was a huge allegation to make against Caligish. After all, he was a very influential Roblox YouTuber who even had his own star code, and if these allegations were true, could ruin his career forever. And slowly but surely, more would be revealed about PyroNad's supposed relationship with Caligish.
Not only did they have a strange romantic connection, but Mr. Kelrelish took it to that saucy next level, from images of his PP being sent to videos of him, I can't say it here on YouTube. From there, it only gets worse tenfold, with Mr. Bellradish asking and pressuring PyroNad to send pictures, naked pictures of herself to him. He would even send pictures of himself in those kind of situations to her, and then force her to save them to her camera roll.
So not only did Caligish have this relationship with PyroNad while she was 15 and he was 20, but he would even send her naked pictures of himself. But not just that, would also beg and pressure PyroNad for her nudes.
Unfortunately, after all the pressure and harassment, PyroNad sent some images of herself to Kellyfish.
However, Caligish actually had a girlfriend at the time that he was in a somewhat public relationship with, but why would he ruin not only his relationship, but his career and everything he has dreamt of, all for a 15-year-old girl he met on Discord?
At this point in time, Caligish's girlfriend at the time was made aware of what was going on, so she decided to reach out to PyroNad, asking what the deal was. After that, she confronted Mr. Kel, but he denied even knowing her in the first place. Wow, that's just crazy, man. Then who's the that you're s***ing every night? Are there more? Well, apparently so in 2018, but we'll talk about that later.
Not only did Caligish lie about his relationship with PyroNad to his girlfriend, but when confronted by his girlfriend, denied even knowing Nad in the first place. However, this would only make it so much worse for Caligish, as not only did his girlfriend eventually find out the truth, but it would soon be revealed that PyroNad was not the only he was talking to. However, before we look more into his previous victims, first we must answer the question of what exactly happened when PyroNad confronted Caligish about having a girlfriend.
And then PyroNad went back to Kello saying, "Hey, why did you lie about not knowing me?" From there, a deal was struck between the two that PyroNad wouldn't tell anyone about what had happened between them in exchange for 20,000 Robux.
After being confronted by his own girlfriend, Caligish would make the extremely stupid decision to offer a bribe to PyroNad. The deal was that Nad had to stay silent about everything she had to put up with, and in return, he would give her a measly $200 worth of Robux. However, this is where things would get so much worse for Caligish. Well, remember when I mentioned that PyroNad wasn't the only Caligish was talking to?
And I found out from PyroNad that he had in fact done this before with another child. In 2018, he dated a 14-year-old girl, and his excuse for doing it was she was mature for her age.
However, more importantly was what PyroTunes would put in the description of the video. It was a link to a Google Drive titled "Caligish is a P." The Google Drive would contain the supposed proof that Caligish was a p. Screenshots of Discord messages that were between Nad and Caligish that he was referencing in the video. Caligish emotionally manipulating and pressuring Nad into sending images of herself, even with Caligish admitting that he had plans of grooming her reading. But yeah, nah, if I was dating a 14-year-old when I'm 18 to 19, I wouldn't get until like you were 16 to 18. Straight admission that Caligish was Nad at the time, on top of more emotional manipulation, even admitting to PyroNad that he had dated a 14-year-old girl before when he was 18. There is a reason I said yes to her. She doesn't act like 14 at all. She is very mature for her age. Of course, I do wait until she is 17 to 18 for any other stuff. This guy is a horrible addict. However, this wasn't all. He would even talk about having sex with Nad in a changing room in a clothing store, who, let me remind you, was a 15-year-old girl at the time. Just dirty, disgusting shit that would be considered weird to any regular adult, let alone a literal child. And as I mentioned before, Caligish has a thing for emotionally manipulating his victims, so much that he would even pressure her into sending him explicit photos of her. However, after Nad discovered what exactly was happening between Caligish and his girlfriend, she would confront him about it, stating, "You've changed, you're still as manipulative," with Caligish replying, "I don't know, I don't really recognize that person anymore." And like many other people who do these types of deplorable things, it wouldn't be long until he would get defensive and start denying anything that happened, with Nad saying, "I'm not wrong, you're only looking out for yourself," with Caligish acting clueless, saying, "Not really, but how would you know?" with Nad replying, "My god, cut the gaslighting please," where Caligish would unsurprisingly act clueless, replying with, does even gaslighting mean? And these messages were all from his official partner Discord account, the same one he had used to talk in his Discord server to fans. So now you know what type of person Caligish is, a dirty, disgusting sex addict who has not a single bit of regret or remorse for his actions. Not only did he pressure and emotionally manipulate Pyronad into sending explicit images of herself, but he couldn't even help himself but to admit his prior relationship that he had with a 14-year-old. This guy is horrible to say the least. After all of this came out, it would not be long until Caligish would begin to get hate. Not only was the entire community destroying him in the comments, but he would even have his Discord partnership taken away.
And the first plan of action was to message Discord, because I mean, he was in their partner program. Surely they wouldn't want a Discord partner doing those horrible things to children on their platform. And surprisingly, good on Discord, within about 2 days, he had his partnership revoked, including from his Discord server with tens of thousands of members in it.
And not even 2 weeks later, on September 1st of 2021, the Roblox RTC Twitter account would tweet out, "It's confirmed that Caligish has been removed from the Video Star program and Roblox has terminated. His star code no longer works." And not even a few hours later, on the exact same day, Roblox YouTuber Green Lego Cats took to Twitter stating, "Caligish's Roblox account has been terminated. Either Roblox terminated him or he asked for his account to be deleted." And whenever something controversial happens within the community, Roblox is known for staying silent. However, what makes the story of Caligish so important is he would be one of the only creators to be completely banned and removed by Roblox themselves, with a comment by Green Lego Cats confirming, "This is one of the most important bans in the history of Roblox. It's a huge day in the history of the platform." And shortly after, on September 20th, would see the day that Caligish would be officially terminated from YouTube, removing him from history forever, or so we thought. This takes us towards the end of 2021. It was November 13th, not even 2 months after Caligish was exposed. A new Roblox YouTuber would enter the scene going under the name Koofy. The channel would upload Roblox videos, reactions, and videos interacting with his fans, the content mostly directed towards children. And it wouldn't be long for Koofy to quickly rise as a Roblox YouTuber, hitting 1,000 subscribers on December 25th of 2021 and hitting 100,000 not even 1 month later, even overtaking Caligish, passing 500,000 subscribers by June of 2022. This is where Koofy would start collaborating with other creators, but most notably Kaka V420, a Roblox YouTuber who creates very high quality Roblox meme videos. Koofy and Kaka would collaborate on almost every video, and it would ultimately help him to reach 1 million subs by May 5th of 2024, even reaching 2 million by August 25th of that same year. However, this would be Koofy's last achievement before going on a very steep decline. But why exactly would this be? Well, on September 8th, 2024, Kaka V420 would release a video titled "The End of Koofy." The video would detail the duo's iconic past, mentioning how they did YouTube together and shared similar goals. However, something was very suspicious to Kaka about where exactly Koofy came from.
I could never quite figure out where Koofy came from. He seemed to know all the dramas too well, was a natural at creating content, was surprisingly good at Funky Friday, and had a weird obsession with playing simulator games 24/7. Every piece of information led me to a dead end, as he didn't have any publicly available social media.
Revealing that Koofy had given out certain personal information that would lead Kaka to be even more suspicious.
There is a clear line between character and individual. I didn't look like my character IRL, and neither does Koofy. Every time we interacted, it was like we were the same characters from the videos, but occasionally I caught a glimpse of Koofy's true self beyond the character. From his age to his home country, I now had a rough idea of who this guy could be in real life.
Koofy would reveal to Kaka that he was a 23-year-old German man. This was a massive clue into who exactly was behind the Koofy channel, because who else was a 23-year-old German man at the time? Kalagish. However, quickly after revealing this information, Koofy stopped being active on Discord and YouTube altogether, taking an indefinite break with no warning to Kaka in DMs. And keep in mind, they were uploading content together every week, so this move would make Kaka concerned, because with Koofy gone, he didn't quite know what to do. But as a result, Kaka would collaborate with other YouTubers, but notably someone known as Olix.
Wait, I mentioned you in a call with Mr. Crimson. Do you know Koofy IRL?
No, he been keeping his identity private.
Bro, Mr. Crimson told me some crazy.
I didn't know it yet. This was the moment where everything would go from west to east, from left to right, from green to red, and from miracle to a nightmare.
I was talking to Mr. Crimson and mentioned you while screen sharing your channel. He noticed and said,
"Oh, he makes videos with Koofy."
and I was like, yeah, they do collab a lot, but in recent days he's been—
Do you know who Koofy is? Huh, what's so fun I can't tell you. What? Okay, I'll tell you, but you better keep it a secret. Koofy is—
Kaka had been unknowingly interacting with this scumbag the entire time.
Before the creation of the Koofy channel, he was Kalagish, a prominent figure in the Roblox community, known for his content on games like Bubblegum Simulator and Funky Friday. But his journey took a dark turn. Kalagish was exposed for very disturbing behavior, and as a result, his Roblox account was banned, he was kicked out of the Star Creator Group, and his YouTube channel was terminated. After losing everything, he had no choice but to reinvent himself. That's how Koofy, his TTS channel, was born. Koofy wasn't out of passion or excitement, it's out of necessity, because the person behind it, Kalagish, no longer had a place to exist as himself. His real voice is silenced by the weight of what he's done, leaving behind only this artificial echo of who he used to be. Koofy isn't just a new channel, it's a reflection of a broken reality that can never be undone. No matter how many videos he uploads, no matter how many views he gets, Kalagish's path hangs over him like a shadow, never letting him forget the person he can no longer be. Koofy is a reminder that sometimes there's no real redemption, only survival, and that survival comes at the cost of losing everything that once made you feel alive.
However, the situation wasn't confirmed just yet, and there were rumors behind the scenes that the Koofy channel was the only reason keeping Kelvis alive after he got exposed.
I was connecting the dots and digging deeper. This led me to uncover the most concrete piece of evidence anyone could find. You see, Koofy had shared his analytics with me, allowing me to see every piece of analytic on his channel, right down to his blocked keywords.
And what do you know?
Koofy left a trail of evidence, enough for Kaka to confirm that Koofy was Kalagish after all. From his age, where he was from, to the blocked words in his YouTube analytics, everything was adding up. Koofy had tricked the entire Roblox community for over 3 years to think he was somebody else, and built an audience of over 2 million people while doing it. And this would all lead to Kaka eventually confronting Koofy in DMs.
Yo, you're alive. What's good, man? How you been?
I've recently noticed the hidden keywords on your channel, added up the stuff you told me about yourself, the people you associate yourself with, and figured out who you really are. I'm not gonna expose you or tell anyone, but I don't think I'd like to associate with you any longer. We talked, and he tried explaining himself, hoping to stay in contact with me, but it was no use. I was going to cut him off regardless of what he said. In the end, we agreed he would delete his Discord account and stop including me in his videos. I cut him off for good.
However, after going through all of this, it would ultimately lead to Koofy releasing a video in which would contain a hidden message of how he truly feels from what happened when he was Kalagish, to losing Kaka as a friend after lying to him for years.
Honey, I prepared dinner for you.
I don't feel hungry, mother.
It's been 5 months, son. You need to learn to move on with your life.
Letting go feels impossible, almost like giving up on something important. I cling to the past because letting go makes me feel guilty, as if I'm betraying memories that once defined me. It's a tough spot. feeling stuck between wanting peace and fearing I'm erasing a part of who I am. I have dreams as if I'm still in the cringe dimension and chat. My best friend is still alive. The police are still looking for me because I killed the doctor's wife. I don't deserve to be in the real world. The guilt is unbearable.
This takes us into November of 2024. After Koofy was exposed for being Caligish, the entire community was in shock. Many YouTubers were making videos covering the situation, but I want to point out Parlo's video titled, "The Koofy Drama Gets Worse, Caligish vs AO Gaming Roblox." In this video, Parlo would explain the previous beef between the two creators, as well as what was revealed after Koofy got exposed. However, first we must take a look at what Koofy uploaded on November 2nd of 2023. The video was titled "Exposing the Most Manipulative Roblox Shorts YouTuber." In the video, Koofy would try and expose another Roblox channel known as AO Gaming, a Roblox Shorts YouTuber with over 1.6 million subscribers. In Koofy's expose, he would go on to claim that AO Gaming sent inappropriate pictures to people in Discord, perpetuated hate towards the LGBTQ community, and used religion to gain subscribers and likes on his videos.
I called out a person named AO Gaming Roblox for creating content that not only perpetuates hate towards the LGBTQ community but also shamelessly exploits a religion for the sole purpose of generating likes, subs, money, and clout.
Now, with some truth to these allegations, it makes sense as to why AO Gaming wouldn't end up replying to Koofy's video. However, in the present day, AO Gaming reveals that at the time he was too scared to even respond to this situation, as Koofy had a much larger audience.
This guy has also literally made an expose video on me 10 months ago where he used fake screenshots and allegations that weren't true to portray me as some kind of weird, terrible person. I am not saying I am innocent, but so much stuff in that video was not real, and I was too scared to speak up about it until now.
This is where AO Gaming would go on to debunk the claim that Koofy made against him, additionally revealing that Koofy was lying the entire time.
I would never send inappropriate pictures to people, and I find it extremely disgusting that I was framed for that. He used a fake screenshot in his video where I was apparently being racist and threatening someone, but it was fake. The guy who made the screenshot used a friend or alternate account to pretend to be me, then proceeded to make the account say all of that stuff to make it look like I said it when in reality I didn't.
So not only did Koofy allegedly make up the allegations himself, but it would also be alleged that Koofy faked screenshots of AO Gaming to make him look worse than he actually was in order to fuel the narrative of his video. And it wouldn't be long after this where multiple massive Roblox YouTubers such as Creekcraft would start to talk about the situation.
Kaka found out that Koofy is actually another YouTuber in disguise. That YouTuber being this guy right here named Caligish,
revealing to his live audience that Koofy was in fact Caligish the entire time.
I'm not gonna say what kind of bad things. We'll just say that him and Dr. Disrespect would get along pretty well, and you know, did some bad things, left the internet, and for years now has been secretly posing as Koofy.
However, what would make Creekcraft's reaction to the situation so important is that he would mention one key detail.
There is a lot of Roblox YouTubers that not only knew that Koofy was Caligish, but there are some Roblox YouTubers that helped him get his second channel started,
stating that many other Roblox YouTubers knew that Koofy was Caligish the entire time, and with many speculations and rumors, people began to think, if the person in Kaka's video knew that Koofy was Caligish the entire time, who else has been hiding this secret as well? Let me introduce you to It's Maddie, a Roblox YouTuber with over 500,000 subscribers who makes videos on Roblox Bed Wars. He is known for many different things, however one of those things would be his association with Caligish before he got exposed. See, Maddie and Caligish were pretty close friends at the time. but after he got exposed, many of the people in his circle would cut him off, and for a good reason. What Kalagish did was absolutely horrific, and I don't think anybody would be able to look at him the same after what was exposed. However, what if I told you It's Maddie was one of the many people who chose to keep contact with Kalagish, but not only that, would help him blow up the Kufi channel.
Now, in a video titled How Kufi Went From 0 to 100,000 subscribers in a month, this YouTuber who made the video ends up showing archived proof that It's Matty had end screens leading to Kufi's video called When You Delete Roblox, and were even in contact with one another after the entire situation where Kalagish was exposed. Keep in mind too, there are also numerous other documented videos of It's Matty's channel having end screens leading straight to Kufi's videos, just showing cut and dry proof of these close friends of Kalagish platforming his second channel and driving him to success again, despite him being a predator who admitted to several crimes.
In Paolo's video, he would point out that after Kalagish had been exposed, It's Maddie would start promoting his new channel Kufi on his end screen videos, and with what we know now, this makes It's Maddie look pretty terrible. However, what if I told you it gets even worse, and It's Maddie not only promoted a pedophile to help his new channel, but would also let Kufi work for him as a video editor.
Now, someone who I'll call Mr. Yellow contacted It's Matty about this entire situation, and It's Matty is seen admitting that he literally had employed Kalagish after his channel was terminated, saying that in order to prevent Kalagish from doing anything, he allowed him to edit on his channel out of guilt if he were to do anything, had he had not. So now not only is It's Matty admitting to employing and paying a predator, but he is also maliciously using the topic of suicide to excuse his gross action of monetarily supporting a prolific.
Not only would It's Maddie promote Kalagish in his videos and pay him to be his video editor, but he would also make the excuse that the only reason he helped out Kalagish in the first place was so he wouldn't commit suicide.
Now, he continues by stating that Kalagish also had put his videos in his end screens without his permission. However, if this was the case, why didn't It's Matty remove them once Kalagish told him about this? Why did he decide to keep them up so Kalagish's second channel could continue to get more views? It's Matty also makes the claim that he stopped associating with Kalagish, aka Kufi, as of early 2022 with no proof whatsoever. He also states once again that he would never agree for Kalagish to self-promote his videos on his channel, yet for some odd reason, he is still allowed the end screens to stay in place after knowing about it.
Now, whether It's Maddie was paid from promoting Kalagish's new channel or simply just wanted to help him out, this was a bad look either way.
He also claims for the time that he was in contact with Kalagish after he was terminated on YouTube, he did not go by the alias Kufi, and this is another massive lie. According to sources I have consulted, he did go by Kufi, and It's Matty's making a bold-faced lie here. Matty became aware at the very least that Kalagish had a new channel and didn't bother telling anyone. He is only playing the victim now because he was caught in 4K and has also removed all his end screens as of now in a form of drastic damage control.
From the many lies and excuses to It's Maddie knowingly promoting a on his YouTube channel in hopes that nobody would find out, it led a lot of people to believe that he still could be friends with Kufi right now. However, It's Maddie wasn't the only person who knew that Kufi was Kalagish the entire time. Meet a YouTuber known as Rainway. He has just under 500,000 subscribers and makes Roblox slop content directed towards children. He was also another person who was friends with Kalagish at the time he got exposed.
And was also another friend of Kalagish and was on record stating that Kalagish was always there for them.
However, it wouldn't be long until Rainway would be exposed about his past friendship he had with Kalagish. Someone on Twitter would call him out, showing solid evidence that Rainway used to defend Kalagish in private.
Now, according to Tanuki Alex, who ran the RTC Twitter account in 2021, she shows Discord logs proving how Rainway was defending Kalagish's actions in private. In these DM exchanges, he expresses how everyone should hear Kalagish's side in all of this and was apparently trying to stop her from releasing all this information to the public.
He would even state that what Kalagish did was nothing more than a simple mistake.
Rainway states that everyone makes mistakes and he'd hate to see Kalagish lose his career over all of this. Yeah, everyone makes mistakes, Rainway, just like how your friend groomed and preyed on 4 minors and committed numerous crimes and admitted to them.
However, what was even worse is what he would be exposed for next. When Rainway was called out for defending Kalagish in private, it would also be revealed on how he felt about Pyronad, claiming that she wasn't actually a victim and it was all her fault.
Eventually, when this news all did break out, more screenshots came out of Rainway stating how the 15-year-old Pyronad somehow wasn't the victim in this situation.
So not only was Rainway caught defending Caligish and his actions, but was also putting all of the blame onto the victim. However, not long after being exposed, Rainway would try cover everything up.
Now, Rainway has also gone on damage control recently, reaching out to anyone who tweets about him in the context of this situation, and he did the exact same for me. He basically showed the full context of the conversation here with the aforementioned screenshot, and what it shows really doesn't disprove anything. He was still defending Caligish. In this new screenshot showing the full context, all it does was show that Rainway was sad that Caligish was cancelled and was really distraught about this all. So yes, Mr. Rainway, you still have a lot of addressing to do in this situation.
But what if I told you one of the people that knew Caligish was Koofy was one of the worst predators Roblox has ever seen? Meet Inhi, a Roblox developer who was exposed in May of 2024 for being a predator. I have actually covered him on the channel before. However, what if I told you that he was much worse than you could ever think, and that the entire time Caligish was pretending to be Koofy, Inhi knew this and was helping him blow up for the second time.
This screenshot which I'm showing right now was leaked and shows Inhi back in July of this year stating how he knew Caligish was operating the Koofy channel as early as December 2021, and that he and Caligish are in fact in contact and have been for a while. This means that any inference that It's Matty makes that he didn't know that Caligish was Koofy is a complete lie, because the Koofy channel was literally made as of late 2021, and It's Matty cut contact with Caligish, apparently according to his own words, in early 2022, meaning the dates overlap, meaning he probably knew that Caligish was Koofy. Now, when this screenshot was indeed leaked, especially to my Discord server, Inhi goes on to snitch on It's Matty, stating that he employed Caligish and gave him a platform.
After Inhi got exposed for knowing and helping who Koofy truly was, he would also confirm what we knew about It's Matty. However, that is all the YouTubers we know as of now that knew Caligish was Koofy. This brings us to our next creator who got exposed during January, specifically the animation YouTuber Potama. From taking advantage of one of his fans to fulfill his sick desires, to emotionally manipulating his victim for his own gain, this is the deplorable story of Potama and how he is trying to get away with it all. However, before we get into the details of this situation, I want to clarify that if you are in any way a supporter or fan of Potama's, please watch until the end before commenting hate or defending his deplorable actions. But first, we must learn about who exactly Potama is. On the 23rd of June 2006, a child was born inside of a Texas hospital. This child would eventually grow up to be the infamous animation YouTuber we all know, known as Potama. Potama would create his YouTube channel on October 24th, 2018. He would post mainly Roblox videos at the start. This was just gameplay videos, meme videos, and anything he found cool at the time. However, his content would slowly start to change into videos that were targeted towards a younger demographic. He would start to upload more YouTube shorts, allowing him to reach the massive milestone of 1 million subscribers in July of 2024. But ironically enough, this would be the same month that would mark the beginning of the end for Potama's career on the platform. See, this would all start on the 12th of January 2024. Popular Roblox commentary YouTuber Paolo would announce in his Discord server stating, Roblox YouTuber Potama is facing very serious allegations of having oral sex with a 12 turning 13-year-old when he was 16 years old. This would mean that the age gap exceeds 3 years and also would mean it was statutory rape, as 12/13-year-olds cannot consent. He also admitted in the DMs that he was manipulative and controlling over them too, and crossed state lines to see them, with Paolo detailing that he will be making a video on the situation and even wanted to hear Potama's side of everything before posting it. However, with Potama avoiding Paolo's friend request, it would only be a matter of time until the bombshell of evidence would drop on Paolo's channel. This would be followed by a tweet from popular Roblox animation YouTuber SebMotions on the very same day reading, Potama is finally getting cancelled. This would hint that it was very near the end of Potama's career and it would only be a matter of time before everything went public. This is where Paolo would take to Twitter in a quote tweet that said, video detailing the entire situation is set to release tomorrow. It debunks any fleeting defense people throw at a 12 and 16 age gap. And to those who are defending Potama, we know who you are and we won't forget. Confirming that Paolo's video would be released the very next day. This takes us us to the 14th of January 2025. Parlo would drop a video titled Roblox YouTuber Potama Exposed, the same video he was talking about on Twitter and in the Discord message. In said video, Parlo would go into detail about the allegations and how all of this even became public. However, before we get into the details of what happened, first you need to keep in mind two people. Miss Yellow, who is the victim and 12-year-old Potama was talking to that wishes to remain anonymous, and Mr. Red, a YouTuber who would connect with both Potama and the victim to get all the facts correct. They would all get in contact with each other on July 26th of 2024 to talk about and discuss what exactly happened. The first screenshot provided to us would be a confirmation that the conversations that took place all happened in July of 2024. The first piece of evidence to be released would show Mr. Red asking both Potama and Miss Yellow how long they have known each other for. This is where Miss Yellow would confirm that they have known each other for about 5 years, first making contact with each other when she was 10 and he was 14, meaning there was more than a 3-year age gap between Potama and the victim. And if we look at this screenshot, which was Potama announcing to his Discord server that it was his birthday, we can see that it was sent on the 23rd of June, meaning his birthday would have to be the 23rd of June 2006. This would be confirmed when Mr. Red asked Potama how old he was as of July 2024, with Potama replying that he was 18, meaning he turned 18 on June 23rd, 2024. And in this screenshot, we see Mr. Red asking Miss Yellow when her birthday is, with the victim confirming they were born on the 13th of December 2009. Now, if we put this into an age gap calculator, it would mean that they had an age gap of 3 years, 5 months, and 20 days. And you will see why that is a problem in just a bit. In this screenshot, it confirmed that Potama and Miss Yellow would initially meet each other in a Discord server under the name Chill Isles, with Potama detailing how the victim lied about her age in order to remain in the Discord server without being banned, as Discord only allows you to use their platform if you're above the age of 13. However, the victim would confirm that although they lied about their age on the server, Potama still had full knowledge of her real age. And in this screenshot, she confirms that she did lie to other members in that Discord server, and the only reason she did this was to remain in the Discord server and to keep contact with her friends, as like I said before, Discord only allows users who are above the age of 13. However, it's not like Potama has ever lied or tried to hide the situation, as he thinks it's perfectly okay. We saw this when another big Roblox animation YouTuber that will be keeping anonymous would testify against him that Potama knew the victim's age and would talk about his relationship with her in voice calls with them, despite her being 12 and him being 16. Mr. Red would go on to ask both of them if they were from the United States, which Potama and Miss Yellow would both reply saying yes. And in these screenshots, we see that Miss Yellow confirms that she is from Florida, but not only that, Potama would also confirm that he had flown all the way from Texas to Florida in order to meet up with her in real life. And this would also mean that Potama crossed state lines in order to commit these illegal acts. It would also mean that both Potama and the victim's parents were either not told about the age gap or didn't care about how big of an age gap it was, despite it being their own child, which I would like to personally add is very irresponsible of both parents for not only allowing their son to fly to a completely different state to meet up with a 12-year-old girl, but it's also just as irresponsible of Miss Yellow's parents for allowing her to meet up with a 16-year-old boy at such a young age. Now, you will notice I mentioned the age gap is very important in the case of Potama. Personally, I think it's extremely weird that a 16-year-old boy is meeting up and having sex with a 12-year-old girl, but that's just my opinion. In the eyes of the law, however, it is still illegal, as in Florida, where the incident took place, both parties have to be 18 or older to consent to any sexual acts. And I do understand that people have relationships where both parties are under 18 and they will still do things, but this is no regular age gap. This is between somebody who is 12, just starting puberty, barely even finishing middle school, while Potama is 16, has been through puberty for several years, is able to work and be employed, and is nearing the end of his high school education. The reason I bring up these points is that they clearly have a maturity difference, and although Potama may disagree, he at 16 years old is far more mature, intelligent, and strong than any other 12-year-old. So when you take these factors into consideration, consideration, you begin to realize just how weird this age gap really was. And as we see in this screenshot right here, Potama literally admits that they had sex with each other while he was 16 and she was 12. Now you will find he often uses the excuse that it's fine because they were both minors at the time. So basically what he is saying is that if you are 17 and you have sex with someone who is 8, it wouldn't matter because they are both minors. Now you see with that wild example how bad this defense really is. And just because both people in this situation are under 18 does not cancel out how weird it is. Just because Potama is older, yes, it doesn't make him a pedophile, but it definitely is not okay morally nor legally, no matter how you try and put it. However, when questioned about the interactions, he did not deny it ever happening and instead would go on to detail the aftermath of the situation, mentioning how between Potama and Miss Yellow, they thought it was pretty dumb when they brought it up, adding that they think it shouldn't have happened with that big of an age gap, considering they weren't even in a relationship. So even Potama and the victim both confirm they think the age gap was too big. He would also go on to mention how they would then agree to forget about it and only remember the quote, fun activities they did, unquote. And if we take a look at this screenshot where Mr. Red would ask when and where they had sex, Miss Yellow would reply detailing how it all took place in her home state of Florida on the 26th of July 2022. This would also confirm that she was 12 while Potama was 16, and under Florida law, this situation is extremely illegal, and if the victim's parents were to press charges on her behalf, it would cause Potama to be charged with a felony offense and put on a registration list for the rest of his life. And in this screenshot, it confirms that they were both excited before meeting up and were even going to set up a movie to watch together after everything went down. In this conversation between Mr. Red and Potama, he would also confirm that no explicit images or text messages were ever exchanged between him and the victim. This would also be confirmed by the victim as well. Potama would then be asked about how they broke up, with the reason being that he was being very manipulative towards her and getting jealous and potentially controlling whenever she talked to any other guy. This would cause Miss Yellow to eventually break up with him over his behavior. And in this screenshot, it shows the victim confirming that Potama was emotionally manipulative towards her and would try to get his own way all the time. However, she still insists that he has changed and is a better person now. Potama clarifying that he had no intentions of dating anyone new and was extremely sad over the breakup between him and Miss Yellow. Also literally admitting that he had sex with her when he was 16 and she was 12. Also claiming that they are still in contact with each other, which was from July of 2024. However, many speculate that they are possibly still friends to this day. Also confirming for the second time that he was 18, with this message being sent in July of 2024, meaning he would have had to turn 18 that year as it was 1 month after his birthday. Even Potama's own Discord moderator saying that he thinks the situation should be public, even though it may have an effect on his job working for Potama. People within Potama's close circle confirming that Potama has changed and since gone to therapy about everything. However, this still doesn't change the fact that when he was 16 years old, emotionally manipulated and took advantage of a 12-year-old girl. Ruben Sim would even comment about the situation behind the scenes, adding that he personally thinks the age gap is horrible, and although the situation happened 2 years ago, still isn't a big enough window of time to allow for proper change, and that someone in an age gap as big as that should not be trusted in a server around kids. And I totally agree. If you, to this day, still think that the age gap you had is okay, you still haven't changed how you think. Now, you see the problem with Potama having a mostly child audience. Not only are they the exact demographic which he should be staying away from, but with situations like this, his fans won't be able to fully understand the situation until they are older, and it is too late. And that's the unfortunate thing about it. However, I'll touch on that more at the end of the video. In the next screenshot, we see Paolo having a conversation with one of Potama's mods. Since Potama still wouldn't talk to Paolo directly, this is where his mod would be seen defending Potama's actions and talking about how Potama has debunked these allegations when clearly that is not true. Not only has Potama admitted that he met up and engaged in acts with a 12-year-old while 16, but he also admitted that the age gap was too big and it shouldn't have happened, even with one of his mods going back on what they said, saying that he hasn't seen any evidence himself and purely trusts Potama because he is a quote, good person. People are even getting banned from his Discord server for mentioning just the age gap, not even what happened between them, providing even more reason for me to believe that Potama feels guilty about what happened, and if he feels guilty, that can only mean one thing. everyone that he knows it's bad. Now, within just a couple of hours of Paolo's video being public, Potama would take to YouTube with a community post responding to these allegations. However, the amount of lies and attempts to cover up what he did is truly disgusting, and you can just tell by reading this that he is trying to manipulate his audience into feeling bad for him. So I'm going to read this response, but every time he lies, I am going to correct him. This is what he said. It really disgusts and saddens me to read all of these hateful and untrue comments. I wouldn't think I would have to tell you about my personal life, but I now realize that so many of you actually believe it. So here goes. The incident everyone is talking about happened nearly 3 years ago. This does not excuse the situation at all. No matter how much time has passed, it does not change the fact that the victim could not consent and was taken advantage of by someone almost 4 years older. I had just turned 16. My mother and I went on vacation and I met up with a close friend that was 3 years younger than me. Our mothers arranged it a couple months in advance. My mother took us to the movies, to lunch, and an indoor amusement park. We were all together in public the whole day. People are saying we did things that we didn't do or that I forced her in some way, and it's all lies. Our mothers were there. He likes to use this excuse that because parents were there means that nothing could have happened. But when asked about it, he literally says it himself. There are people that are making videos about me with screenshots that are twisted and taken out of context. Now, this is purely a deflection tactic. Your own mods and friends have testified against you, and you even said everything yourself in screenshots that your own friends confirmed were real. Even worse are the fake accounts pretending to be me and making things up. Strangers are calling me a PDF when I was a minor myself. Yes, this means you're not a but it doesn't excuse the fact that you took advantage of somebody that is not old enough to consent. 3 years and 5 months is too big of an age gap to even be considered okay under the Romeo and Juliet laws in both Florida and Texas. Today, I am 18 and she is 15. Nothing about our ages is illegal. We are still friends and she is horrified at the lies people are saying about her. This is an attempt to downplay the victim's suffering. Emotional manipulation often keeps victims silent or supportive, especially when they are young and don't fully understand what they have been through. All of this has really taken a toll on my mental health, and it makes me question if I should keep doing YouTube. While mental health is very important, it should never be used to deflect accountability in any situation. This is nothing more than him trying to guilt trip and sympathy bait his young audience who don't realize how f***ed up he really is. The focus needs to remain on the harm caused to the victim, not Potama's feelings about being called out. Then for the rest of the response, he pretty much just continues to sympathy bait, going on to say how if you don't believe him, then you aren't allowed to watch him. The fact of the matter is, Potama and the victim have both confirmed they met up and had sex when he was 16 and she was 12, with an age gap of 3 years and 5 months. That is the facts, okay? Morally, I personally think it's disgusting. When I was 16, I saw 12-year-olds as literal children, but in the case of Potama, he saw it as someone he could have sex with. You see how crazy that sounds? The fact that people are even defending him with this level of evidence, testimonies, and literal self-admission is insane to me. Potama seems like a nice guy on the surface. He makes alright content for those who watch it and seems to spread a lot of positivity, but that will never take away from what he has done. Just because several years have passed does not mean it's okay now. You can't just someone, do some charity work, and then act like you never took another person's life. The facts are there, and your past will never leave. You might be a good person on the surface, Potama, and maybe that's to make up for the guilt of raping a 12-year-old girl, but from what I've seen, you're nothing but a manipulative bitch who takes advantage of younger girls knowing they don't know any better. Yeah, maybe the victim thinks you getting called out is up right now, but when she gets older and realizes how you took away her innocence from such a young age, she will soon start to realize how much harm you really caused. On January 30th, I would expose a TikToker with over 300,000 followers who goes by the name Kaiser. He somehow managed to scam his fans for over $90,000 worth of Roblox limiteds. Meet the Roblox TikToker with over 300,000 followers who scammed his fans for over $100,000 in Roblox limiteds. Today, I will expose every scummy action this TikToker has committed and interview the many victims that he has scammed. On January 20th, 2025, I posted a video titled Investigating Roblox's Most Disgusting Developer, in which I would uncover the disgusting actions committed by a developer known as Zogland. However, the reason I bring this up is because after posting that video, I have received hundreds of messages in my Discord server and in DMs to cover many different topics and expose people who have done some terrible things within the Roblox community. But what caught my eye is a document that somebody sent me titled Blacklist vs. encompasses everyone. It was a document on a creator known as Kaiser, a TikToker who has a Roblox inventory worth just under $90,000 and has recently been exposed behind the scenes for scamming everything he owns. Kaiser is a Roblox TikToker with over 360,000 followers. He posts videos on memes and often does skits on his TikTok, with the most viewed one having over 11.8 million views. But what if I told you this was all a lie? Well, we will get into that later. However, what sparks my interest is the fact that he is verified on Roblox with only 50,000 followers and owns almost 7.2 million Robux worth of limiteds. But the main reason we will be investigating Kaiser today is because over the past few weeks there have been many allegations coming out against him, with him allegedly botting his views and followers in order to gain the trust of the people that he has scammed, with almost all of his items allegedly being scammed for. However, first we must expose his history with buying fake followers and botting views on his TikTok. Kaiser used to promote a link in his bio through his Discord profile and TikTok. The link was to a site called Kaiser's MM. It was a botting service that you can use to buy followers, views, and subs for almost any platform imaginable. When we take a look at the website in question, it shows you a list of services that you can buy, such as views, subscribers, and watch time for YouTube. In this screenshot from the document, we can see that the website also sells likes and followers for Instagram. However, I decided to take a look for myself, and what I found was truly shocking. The site also sold services for TikTok, the platform that Kaiser uses for everything. And if we take a look at Kaiser's TikTok profile, we can see that some of his videos have a very strange view to like ratio. Like this video that has 1.4 million views, however only has 86,000 likes. Or this video that has 1.2 million views, however only got just under 60,000 likes. But without the alleged view bots, these are the views he actually gets. Just over 10,000 views, but only getting around 400 likes. Very suspicious if you ask me. However, the botting is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Kaiser's deplorable actions. You see, Kaiser is very good at using his platform to get special treatment in some of Roblox's most popular games. However, he has a lengthy history of being egotistical and abusing the powers in these games in order to ban and silence the people that expose him. Kaiser and his friends would be called out by a user known as Graveyards, who we will be interviewing later in this video. When confronted with everything he has done, Graveyards would be treated with disrespect and not even taken seriously, although the allegations against him could potentially ruin his career if proven correct. This would be followed by Kaiser abusing his powers and kicking Graveyards from the game, sending messages through the disconnections. In this screenshot, we can see that Graveyards would be disconnected from the game for quote, defamation, unquote. After rejoining into the game, Graveyards would be disconnected once again. However, this time the message would read, "Hi stream, check Blade Ball as well," teasing to Graveyards that she had been banned from Blade Ball as well. He would continue to taunt her through these disconnection messages. However, this time would confirm that it was actually him behind all of it, with the message reading, "Hi stream, Kaiser, stop avoiding my voice chat. Congrats on peaking views though. Enjoy the attention while it lasts." Kaiser would even join a TikTok livestream amongst all of this with an aggressive message that read, "Tell her to hop in VC with me. I'll put her in place." However, followers and views aren't the only thing that Kaiser has allegedly paid for. There is proof of him in a group chat with a user named Funzy, who according to the document is a well-known and scammer within the community. What you are seeing on screen now is a group owned by user Funzy that allegedly was stolen along with the game that is connected to it. And ever since, Funzy has been selling checkmarks to people that have been using the group. And as you can see in the screenshot, the group is quote, founded by both Funzy and Kaiser. And this screenshot shows another allegedly stolen group with Kaiser having a high rank within it. A friend of Kaiser, otherwise known as Kitty, is somebody that is very important when talking about the case of Kaiser. They would also get exposed on Twitter for the same reason as Kaiser in a tweet that read, "Community manager for Blade Ball, Kitty Ree, just bought 10k followers so she can get verified. She currently has developer in a group that is known for selling verified marks. Blade Ball needs to demote her before she gets the entire game deleted for this," with a thread detailing exactly what happened, stating, "She is in the group Game Funzy, which is a group known for selling verified marks. marks. All the developers here are buying marks including Kaiser, who is a Blade Ball influencer and has 10k botted followers as well. All the bots follow the both of them, so they did it together, adding that Kitty is trying to get away with it all. She left the group as an attempt on hiding it. Her reason for being in the group was to expand her portfolio, yet she has declined to give any proof of a portfolio or even games she has worked on. The group in the second screenshot only has 98 members and the game is a horribly made cash grab. Kitty would respond to the allegations in a poor attempt at defending herself reading, and I'm not sure how any of this means that the tweets are directed at me. I was just getting some portfolio work and I got completely defamed, avoiding any accountability and providing zero proof. In the document exposing Kaiser, Graveyards would put it perfectly reading, they love to use the word defamed. You are not an A-list celebrity or real-world important figure. You're a liar that throws rocks and tries to save face when you're called out. That is all you are and ever will be. After all of this unfolded on Twitter, Kitty would be confronted in private about the situation. She would go on to admit that her profile was botted and would also prove that the group they were talking about in the tweet was the one that she was in. However, couldn't show any evidence for anything she did that was significant to Blade Ball. She would also reply to the call-out tweet of her, continuing to lie about everything, stating, "I am innocent and I have sent all relevant info to Blade Ball, including my personal information, which I was trying to send to you. Blade Ball have cleared my name and can back up that I am completely innocent. You are not willing to see any personal evidence that contradicts your claim." Which is very funny, she talks like this, but when it comes to being confronted, shows nothing to prove her innocence and instead just puts the blame on Blade Ball and claims that they know she is innocent, so that means it's true. Which, let me add, is a very stupid thing to say when responding to being called out, and only shows that you are trying to avoid the situation. The original poster of the tweet would reply to Kitty reading, "After I posted those tweets, people replied with a lot of evidence proving you or your friend bought these followers and the rank itself," with Kitty throwing Kaiser under the bus, writing, "My friend may have, but on God it has nothing to do with me. None of those screenshots provided have anything to do with me and are another person ranked in the group." This would all ultimately lead to the original poster making a follow-up tweet that read, "Yet here you are on a bot's following list specifically used for verified marks. The guy behind these bots has directly stated you got your followers from him. Please stop playing innocent." However, with this series of tweets, it not only proves that Kaiser has botted his followers and bought a checkmark, but it also proved that Kitty was guilty too, and showed everyone in the community how far she is willing to go to cover up her tracks. However, what we have talked about so far doesn't even compare to what will be exposed next. Like I said earlier, Kaiser has a history of scamming, not just random people from his fan base, but also his own friends, with the document stating, "Kaiser ain't as rich as he fooled you all to think he is. Every limited down to his yum face has been stolen, traded for, and stolen again." Scam number 1, Poison Horns. Victim username, Bella Mur. The agreement was that Kaiser would buy her poison horns for $1,400 and she was going to buy his frozen horns for a similar price. The deal was that she sent $1,440 through PayPal and the remaining $100 through Cash App. And with Kaiser's large following and prominence within the Roblox community, she trusted him and would go first in the trade, sending Kaiser $1,440 through her PayPal and $100 through her Cash App. Then the trade would proceed. She would hand Kaiser the poison horns as well as a blue queen of the night. She would also throw in some faces, specifically Blizzard Beast Mode and Beast Mode, as well as more small limiteds. However, after Bella had traded these items off to him, she would be left ghosted. He would avoid sending anything to her, and his excuse for not paying at the time was that the money was pending, and he would keep using this excuse until he eventually blocked her on Discord, leaving victim Bella without any money or item, and Kaiser with an extra $1,500 and some really expensive limiteds. Which takes us onto scam number 2. Once again, this was another set of horns, but more specifically, fiery horns. Victim username, Civful. However, what makes this scam even more shameless is that Civ and Kaiser were friends prior to this and had been talking to each other for over a year. The agreement was that Kaiser would buy Civ's fiery horns for around $1,800. In the conversations that took place over Discord, we can see Civful literally state, mate. I mean, I trust you, been knowing you for a while. However, this meant nothing to Kaiser, and if anything would make it easier for him to pull this off. With Kaiser changing the agreement last minute and stating, I'm in a call with my homie right now. He said he wants it. He would use the excuse that his IRL friend had logged into his account and scammed Civ, and would even create a fake Instagram conversation to try and back up his excuse. But why would you need to clarify to the real life homie that they are an IRL? When confronted about the scam, Kaiser would make excuse after excuse to try and cover up for himself, stating that it's not even his background in an image that he sent. I find it slightly weird that you are proving it wasn't you before Civ even asked about it. In this screenshot, we can see how manipulative Kaiser can really be, acting like he is on Civ's side, but won't help in the slightest when asked about his item or the money, somehow convincing the victim that it was actually his friend that scammed him. I mean, you can't really blame the victim here for believing Kaiser, as they had been friends for a decently long time, so why on earth would he do something like this? With this screenshot proving that the trade happened with Kaiser's current Roblox account and couldn't have possibly been his friend, considering Kaiser had been in game 10 minutes before this happened, with the victim losing not only an item worth almost $2,000, but also someone he called a friend and thought he could trust. But not even a couple days later, Kaiser would admit to scamming him and would lie about Civ trying to get in contact with him, instead adding that the victim avoided him, which is the most insane thing I think you could possibly lie about. Why on earth would someone who just lost a $2,000 item be avoiding you? Kaiser has no regard, empathy, or consideration for the people he scammed, and still scams to this day. When confronted about the scam by Civ himself, Kaiser would just brush it off, stating, "Waste of my time, have a good day," completely avoiding any remorse for someone that you knew for years and that your friend allegedly just scammed. This guy is psychotic. Why would you want to idolize someone like this? If he does this to his friends and acquaintances, what do you think he'd think of you, the viewer? However, upon researching this video, I would also get into contact with Civ himself in order to allow him to explain what truly happened and how it has affected him.
So when pretty much happened, so I was trying to get rid of my limb, you know, and I reached out to Kaiser. You know, I've known him for a while now. I thought of him as a friend. I thought he also had a reputation with his TikTok. I knew he was high and like higher up in games and stuff. So I thought I could trust him, as he's seen with the evidence and the screenshots and stuff. He scammed me out of my fire horns. The deal was 1.8K, which, you know, is a lot of money. And I was trying to get rid of him because I wasn't gonna play the game as much anymore. So I was just trying to like get rid of him and just, you know, just stop playing. Once I gave him the horns, at first, okay, so this was a red flag I should have seen from the beginning. He was trying to take other small limbs from me, and I brought that up. I was like, oh, you're trying to take my other stuff too? But you know, he was like, oh, just send me the trade again. So once I did that, he accepted the trade, and I never got the money. So he showed me like his quote-unquote cash app and stuff of him, showed me his funds, the proof that he could pay for it. So, you know, I really trusted this guy, man. You can't really be trusting, like, you know, TikTokers or anything like higher ups, because you never know what they're gonna do. But yeah, the whole situation, to be honest, was just long. Like, it lasted 2 days. I went to him, I tried to DM him multiple areas, but he would just ignore me, to be honest. So pretty much what happened during those 2 days is I've contacted him, I had my friends try to help me, try to get people to like get contacts. I made reports on him, but nothing was done until I met someone from the hood, administrator. I'm not gonna name no names, but they got me into contact with a lot of people. It was really stressful, to be honest. From everything I lost, it wasn't a lot, to be honest, but like little small. Well, it was just the fire horns. I just lost the fire horns. I was supposed to get, like I said earlier, 1.8K for them, and I didn't get any of it. Throughout the whole 2 days, I had helps from devs too that had contacts with Roblox, actually. The first day he said he would give them back to me, you know, I had high hopes and stuff about getting them back, because he said he would give them back to me, but he never, his account got actually terminated. But yeah, I'm not the only person he's also scammed. My friend David was scammed. He's another victim. So my friend David, actually, he lost 2 beast mode phase, poison horns, and a blue queen from this guy. And he also gave him, I think he was trying to buy something off of him. And he lost like some money out of it too. And the way he does it, like, he'll get your trust and stuff. You know, he uses fame and his clout to, you know, he gets you to trust him to go first. And then he makes it look like someone else got into his account, which is funny, because how he did it to me is I got scammed, he did it all, and then he tried to say it was his quote-unquote friend. And like, he's really prepared with it, like really prepared. He had Instagram DMs with his quote-unquote friend, which is him pretty much texting himself with another account, with 2 accounts. I'm not sure if he's done it every time. I'm pretty sure with my friend, actually, they had DMs, and he did use that method with him too. Like, he was saying that his friend was the one that scammed him. But after he does that, he pretty much ghosts you. But he pretty much ghosts you until he sees that there's gonna be a problem to it. Because he ghosted me. He started acting like that until I got people to help me. He's really good with his words. Like, he makes it seem like he uses his words in a way that makes him look like the victim. The person that got scammed isn't the victim. He makes himself look like the victim. Before the trade, I think all he tries to do is get your trust, you know? He shows you the funds, he shows you all this proof, like, oh, like, he has the money for it, you know? But I don't really think he makes himself look the victim. He acts really nice. He acts like, oh, like he gives you hopes, you know? He gives you hopes that he's actually gonna go through with it. He's like, he makes it look like he's willing to get the item, like he's willing to buy the item, you know? And that's not the case. He makes himself look like that. Like, even after the trade, when I was going through all that stuff, we were talking about it with admins on games and stuff, and he tried to make himself look like a victim. Like, at one point, he got terminated for like a day, like not even a day, less than 24 hours. But it wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of anything that I do. It was because some dev that got into contact with Roblox got him terminated, which I told him not to do, because Kaiser said give him 2 days and he'll give back the item. But you know, it was out of my hands. I couldn't do nothing about it, because he scammed and he's done it before, which other people knew, which is something that I didn't know. Like, I've known him for a while now. Like, we talked on and off, but I never knew the fact that he scammed before me, because if I knew that, I would have never actually went through with the deal with him. And I guess he took the advantage of that, because he scammed. I think it was in the hood modded, actually. He scammed the stomps. That's what I heard. He's someone else's stomps. He scammed someone with it when he was higher up in the hood modded, and he got kicked out of the hood modded. Which is funny, because even after he got kicked out, they brought him back in a couple months later. They brought him back in, and we tried to get him out, and the higher ups on the hood modded said pretty much that they didn't care. So I couldn't really do anything about that, you know, which sucks, because you never know. Like, when he scammed me, I'm pretty sure he was only like at 2-3 mil value. That's after I got scammed. But now he's at 7 point something mil, which is crazy, because who knows if that's legit or not, you know? If he actually got those limited legitimately, or if he's kept on scamming. Like, I've heard recently he scammed a super happy face, which is crazy. I didn't even know about that either. I don't know, these content creators, they use, like, I'm not saying every single one, but you gotta be careful with some of them, because there's content creators who will use you who act nice and try to like manipulate you into trusting them, thinking that, oh, nothing's gonna happen, but it always bites you back, you know? You'll end up getting scammed or something, like I did with Kaiser. Cause I know him beforehand, I know him for a year. Like I said earlier, we were friends off and on. And I honestly thought I could trust this guy, but I guess not, cause after all that happened, he also unadded a lot of people that I knew that had added because he knew he scammed me, which is funny because he said it was his friend, but not even like 15, 20 minutes, he posted a video on TikTok on Blade Ball. He was on the game on Blade Ball, but he didn't know that his friend got his limited, like quote unquote his friend scammed for a limited, which is like, you know. And now after I've been scammed, like, I don't know, like, it just sucks, to be honest, because I could have had that money now. And the thing is, it sucks because even after I got scammed, nothing was done. There's some games that still want him in their games. There's some stuff that he tells the people, the higher ups, that it's been resolved and all this, but it hasn't been resolved. I never got my stuff back. Either that or I never got my money back, so it hasn't been resolved. There's still, I never received the item or the payment, so yeah, to be honest, it just sucks because I don't want other people to get scammed, you know? It's like a scammer. I think I always feel a scammer is always a scammer. And if any of y'all out there trying to get rid of your stuff, don't trust anyone, like no matter who it is, even if they have a lot of followers or if they're your friend, like they could always switch up on you. Some TikTokers are weird. Just don't trust anyone. Just do it in a safe way. Never go first. Never. Always like try to get the payment first, and don't be scamming, bro, because karma's a bitch and it'll always come back to you, to be honest.
Scam number 3, super happy face. Victim username, Juju. We can see in this screenshot, user Juju would offer Kaiser his super happy face item and a 200k wrap in order for Kaiser to trade up his item and give him a better one in return. As we can see here, Juju was very trusting of Kaiser and wouldn't think twice when messaging him, confirming that the trade was accepted, with the victim adding, "Kaiser, I thank you so much that you're doing this. You're a great person." However, to this day, the item still hasn't been returned to Juju and he has since been ghosted by Kaiser. But that is all the confirmed scams with proof that we have as of now. But since this situation is pretty fresh, more evidence will be coming out soon. And if any of you watching have fell victim to Kaiser's scamming ways, please be sure to contact me on Discord here. The document on Kaiser also would comment on his trading graph stating, "To anyone that is prominent in selling or has excessive knowledge of limiteds and trades, does this graph look natural to you? Keep in mind, he is notorious for scamming." The document also contained an allegation made from a user on TikTok who goes by Yoni that claims they dated Kaiser back in 2023 and that she eventually found out he was a pedophile. However, no further evidence has been provided, so take this allegation with a grain of salt. I mentioned earlier a user named Kitty, who was friends with Kaiser and threw him under the bus when it came to his botted followers and bought checkmark. Kitty is infamous within certain communities. For example, she is community manager for one of Roblox's most popular games on the platform, Blade Ball. The document would also claim that she is amongst the corrupt staff team that have been banning people for speaking up about a that was exposed by the name of Deceit. Kitty and Kaiser have always been friends behind the scenes, and they often will defend each other for multiple different things. After the document on Kaiser was published, it wouldn't be long until they caught wind that they were going to be exposed. This is where Kitty would post to Discord a statement that claims all members have been investigated and acquitted. However, she shows no proof to back this up and instead uses the excuse that everything has been taken out of context. And here is the full statement in case they want to claim that this is out of context as well. However, to end off my investigation on Kaiser, I got into contact with the person that created the document on him. This is a user I mentioned earlier who goes under the name Graveyards. She has been involved with Kaiser for quite some time now and has helped the victims gather evidence against him. But I wanted to find out how she personally felt about all of this and maybe to share some personal experiences she has had while dealing with Kaiser. This is what she said.
Me and Kaiser were friends when I first met him. He was like really kind. He came off as a trusting person, and I honestly let my guard down because he had the check mark and limited. But once I found out that he was scamming for everything, my perspective on him changed. It wasn't until I got into this situation with him that I saw that he was really egotistical and narcissistic. Like, when we was in a voice call trying to clear everything up, he kept speaking over me and saying that everything I was proving to him was invalid, or just tried to brush it off as drama, even though I mentioned to him that he scammed multiple people and he broke the trust of the people that, you know, came to him and thought that they were safe to trade their limiteds off to. That about sums up what my experience was as far as communicating with him. He just came off as somebody that was trying to push over on you. Like, if you try to explain your side or reason with him, he will always put himself first. Like, say if you say you were scamming people, you hurt a lot of people, he would say, well, I think that, well, in my defense, it was always him. It was never about you and him. It was only about him. It was very shocking on my end to find out that he was this type of person, and it just proves that you can't trust everybody. Don't trust anyone with their items, regardless of how prominent they may seem. No matter how many limiteds or followers they have, don't trust them. Because that is true. Like, a lot of people on TikTok streams, once they figured out that they could use their status as like a streamer or a creator, they started like scamming a lot of people. They would like take advantage of people's trust. Like, in a screenshot, you could see 3 people got scammed by him because they trusted him and they saw his following. They was like, okay, this guy, he's a creator, he's a content manager, he'll never do me, wrong like everyone else. But he just used that as a facade to like get people's stuff and take it from them. And since, the power balance, it definitely made the victims feel hopeless, which is exactly what he's been using to get away with everything he's been doing. It's like, oh, these people don't have a voice, I don't really care. And it was really insulting to me and to the other creators that stood up against him, for him to say, let's talk it out, and then try to silence us and just keep talking over us repeatedly. Like, I got the voice clips of that too. He was like, oh, I'm gonna let you speak now. Like, granted permission, like we were supposed to be, blessed to be in his presence, to talk to him one-on-one about a situation that he caused. This was long overdue. How dare you say this little drama when you were defending someone who was in possession of, very illegal content, along with your other friend who you helped get a position of power to shut people up. It was just such a mess. You actually had to be there to understand how everybody felt and how powerless they were trying to make us feel. Like, no joke. Every time we would try to talk to him, he would just be like, how he was like, oh, I'm gonna let you speak. And he just kept trying to cut me off. He does this multiple times, as well as Kitty. They just kept, if I was talking to Kaiser, Kitty would jump in. If I was talking to Kitty, Kaiser would jump in. It was just a mess. It was a mess.
But what do I personally think of all this? Well, Kaiser is obviously a very bad person and has scammed not just his own audience, but also people he has been friends with in the past. I think he is just another Roblox player who takes advantage of people for money. However, what makes this so bad is that Kaiser has a TikTok audience of over 360,000 followers and has been partnered with many of Roblox's most popular games, in which he will use to benefit himself in multiple different ways, but most specifically ethically in scamming people for limited items on Roblox. And finally, the last creator we will be covering in today's video is another animation YouTuber. However, what makes this particularly shocking is the amount of degenerate behavior this person showed. From sending disgusting videos to his young audience, to owning unspeakable drawings of people who are way too young, this is Jake, the most disturbing person I have ever covered on the channel. And the worst part, he's a self-proclaimed pedophile. Jake is an 18-year-old animation YouTuber born in Canada. He has over 100,000 subscribers, and he makes animations on the game Dandy's World, and has seemingly blew up over the past few months. And if you don't already know what Dandy's World is, it is a Roblox game made by Blush Crunch Studio that has generated over 1.6 billion visits since its release. However, the nature of the game is to complete missions as the Dandy's World characters. However, the problem with Jake making this type of content is that it's primarily targeted towards a younger audience. We will talk more about why Jake chose Dandy's World as his niche later in the video. However, before we get into that, we must first take a look at the allegations that have been made against Jake within the past month. These include him admitting to being a sociopath, identifying himself as a pedophile, owning a bunch of on and NSFW drawings of children, admitting he likes and wants to be raped by his older sister, 15-year-old, making inappropriate comments towards, and last but not least, admitting to his own parents that he likes children aged 12 to 14. There is so much more that comes with these allegations, which I will be uncovering in today's video. However, before we dive deeper, I would like to mention that sharing this video is highly appreciated. The more people know about this situation, the quicker justice can be served and people can be aware of the disgusting actions committed by Jake. But first, we must answer the question as to why exactly Jake chose Dandy's World. Well, after interviewing one of his closest friends and somebody that knew Jake in real life that will be featured later in the video, I have come to the conclusion that Jake purposely chose Dandy's World as his niche on YouTube for the sole purpose that it targets a younger audience, which will make a lot more sense the more you know about Jake. The first incident Jake would find himself in was when somebody emailed him with a fake sponsorship from the company Duolingo. They would send him a link in his email to continue further with the sponsorship. However, without further investigations from Jake, he simply clicked the link and thought nothing of it. But this link would allow the people behind the fake sponsorship to steal all of his browser cookies, giving them direct access to his YouTube channel. And after gaining access to his channel, the hackers would completely wipe it and start promoting and live streaming some random cryptocurrency. This has been a known issue on YouTube that I've actually had to deal with in the past. Anyway, the reason I point this out is because many of the people close to Jake have told me that this wasn't caused from a fake sponsorship and could potentially be from him looking at NSFW content on the dark web. However, this is purely speculation, but makes sense after what was exposed by somebody known as Bryce. If you don't already know, which I assume is the majority of people watching this video, Bryce is a Dandy's World YouTuber with just over 3,000 subscribers. He actually got the chance to speak to Jake directly, both in DMs and voice call. And on January 22nd of 2025, he would upload a 2-hour and 20-minute long video containing all of the proof against Jake. This was titled Jake, Dandy's World Proof V1. The video would contain hours of messages exposing Jake's disgusting actions, admissions, and opinions on very sensitive subjects. But what was even more important was the voice call which was included in the video. It was a voice call with Bryce, somebody named Void, and Jake. The call lasted over an hour and contained multiple confessions of Jake's actions, as well as some very disturbing comments made by him. He would first start off by admitting that he is a sociopath.
Are you familiar with sociopathy? The concept of sociopathy?
That is what I describe myself, actually.
You describe yourself as a sociopath.
Yes.
And for reference, a sociopath is a person with a personality disorder manifesting itself in extreme antisocial attitudes and behaviors. In other words, it means that he will say and do some very immoral things without even thinking twice about it. And on top of that, will show no remorse or sincerity for his actions or towards any of his victims. However, this is only the tip of the iceberg, as in the call with Void and Bryce, Jake would also go on to admit that he identifies as a
Have you ever described yourself as being
I have actually, and during a time I I saw it as just a normal thing, like something I should just accept, because like it is facts that you can't just remove something from the mind, right? You can only like calm it down in a way. So I just didn't care. No, I didn't see much.
Did you like indulge in it?
In a way, yeah.
Do your friends know that you're a
Very few.
In a conversation Jake had with fellow YouTuber and friend of mine, Shinzu, who has over 50,000 subscribers and has exposed numerous within the Roblox community, it can be seen Jake straight up admitting that he identifies as a pedophile. In the conversation with Shinzu, he would also admit that can't consent, but in that very moment stating, are just images in the end. I know she has been exposed to it before, she can handle it. Which for context was him talking about some NSFW content he has sent to him. He would continue saying some very disturbing things in these messages, even attempting to play victim when Shinzu stated, I hope you realize that isn't just images. They can severely damage people because of content, which can lead into an addiction, and even worse, can lead people in acting like psychopaths like you, where Jake can be seen replying with, coming from me, you can see that I am a victim of it. Jake has also admitted multiple times to Lolicon, paying for it to be made, and even owning worse images.
And I feel the same way about children in real life. Like, visually, they weren't as attractive. It's just the looks, like, it's hard to explain because it's like trying to explain why you like women or why you like men.
He would also go on to state how old he likes the characters in his to be.
Like, how old were these characters that you would find attractive?
I go for...
yeah, sorry.
I go for 12 to 14 years old.
Like you're...
Yes.
And for context, Jake is fully over the age of 18. Not only does it state in his YouTube About page that he is 18, but when confronted by Bryce would also confirm that he had his 18th birthday in March of 2024, which as of recording this video would make him 18 years and 11 months old, almost 19. In the voice call, he would also openly admit to enjoying and watching on content.
So you never said that you like Lolly?
I did say that.
So you said that you liked Lolly 4 years ago, so you were like 14?
I still like Lolly, unfortunately.
Okay, so you've had interest in Lolly for at least 4 years?
Yes.
And you had it even till recently?
Well, yes, there's these websites, they're literally just Lolly. That's all you see in it. Like, it wasn't just a random website because you could just easily find it. I've never been to the dark web. I don't know what that is. But like, yeah, I guess I was basically addicted to it.
Which, might I add, is extremely illegal even in his home country of Canada, and can hold a minimum prison sentence of 6 months and a maximum sentence of up to 14 years. Jake also doesn't care about the age of the victims and would, quote, do it to anyone, unquote.
You know, you said that you have an attraction to 12 to 14-year-olds, and one of those kids that you're making comments to is 13.
Yeah, we have done that to anyone. That's just my normal way of talking. Yeah, I would have done that to anyone. That's my humor. That's the way I talk.
But you did it to a kid.
Yeah.
Jake has also 15-year-old fan of his. The victim in question is known as Bolty and was confirmed 15 years old at the time when this all took place, and Jake was 18 years 8 months old. It would start with Jake messaging him saying, how old are you? Where it can be seen Bolty replying with, 15, I'm still in school. Jake would reply, kinda guessed, where he would then go on to ask a very disturbing question stating, may I know what your current choice of undies looks like? The conversation between Bolty and Jake was very long, but we will look further into it later in the video. Jake would also admit in the voice call with Void and Bryce that he did Bolty.
You kinda just admit that, like, you dumb? Like, is that like your position that you did that?
Yes, that was on me. It wasn't like hacked or anything. I'm the only one controlling this account, so couldn't have been anyone else.
So, what were you like thinking when you did that?
Well, I thought everything was okay, all because it was in a private DM. If it wasn't leaked in the first place, then everything would have been fine.
Wait, so the problem you see at this is that it was leaked? That's like the issue you're seeing here?
Yes.
So your view at the time was it was private and they were okay with it themselves, so it's fine for an 18-year-old to send a 15-year-old.
Yes, that was my thought process.
He would also admit this to one of his closest friends at the time, stating, "I'm sorry for this new info, I am a We will look further into what happened with Jake and Bolty later in the video, but first we must talk about how Jake has also been in multiple instances where he has shared NSFW content to multiple different minds.
Think you're asexual, but you send the kids online?
But that's not like a attraction to gender, or it's an attraction to gender.
Asexual is not an attraction to gender.
I know. No. Your point, you said that I send kids, but like that has something to do with age, and sexuality is that age.
No, but if you're sending people, that tells me that you're very like active, that you're not like.
Well, it doesn't mean I want to like. It doesn't mean I want that back.
Okay, so you're just doing it? There's no like particular reason?
I do it because it's funny.
You think as a self-described that it's okay for you to send a 15-year-old, and that the only reason you're upset about it is because you're getting like caught and people are knowing about what you did. You understand that most people don't even know the extent of what you did?
Yeah.
How do you think they'd react if they knew?
They want me gone.
He would go on to admit that he likes being a weirdo, and the reason he targets such vulnerable people as his victims is that he likes having the power in a relationship.
Part of it was the emotions and like the power dynamic, because like I like the fact that I was like a weirdo part of me, knowing that it's the fine trait to like just be careless, just be intimidating.
And you probably wouldn't have guessed it, but there is even more proof of him being weird towards minors. In this screenshot, we can see him talking to someone known as Electric. In the message, he would make an inappropriate joke reading, "I will lose no not December bro, already lost first day." I point this out because the person known as Electric literally has in his bio, 13 years old but sounds like he's 7. Isn't the only illegal thing Jake is into. In this screenshot, it shows someone mention, "If your sister is older than you, they more likely to love you," where Jake can be seen replying, "Yeah, she can me." So not only does he have an obsession with little kids, but Jake also has fantasized about with his own family. The person Jake was talking to would reply saying, "Don't let that happen," where Jake can be seen replying with, "I do." But this isn't the only time he has said some weird things about his own family members. In the same conversation, Jake can be seen sharing a really disturbing story with his sister, stating, "This is really embarrassing to tell, but there were a couple of times my sister was a little too exposed. One time she lifted up her sweater to just wipe her face or something, which slightly revealed her bra. I was like, oh geez, hope she didn't see me stare. My face was so red and worn at that moment." He would even comment on the disturbing story reading, "Kinda thinking about it now just makes me blush." Going into more horrific detail reading, "She sometimes wears these tight black stretchy pants, and what you know, I see panty lines." He would even admit this in the voice call with Bryce. His feelings on least.
Like, you enjoyed the thrill of, like, being, like, odd or different, kind of?
Exactly, that's, yeah.
So that's never extended to anything else, because there's like a lot of like social taboos out there, right? And so if you're trying to be like really weird, like, I mean, that could extend to things like incest or bestiality. And so those things have never interested you at any point.
Incest interests me.
Incest interests you?
Yeah.
Like, when you say interests you, like, how far does that go?
I would say same level as how much I like Lolly, because I would often ship characters who are siblings, and I like those type of ships over like normal ones.
So just mainly incest and lolicon.
Yeah.
So what you're interested in.
Jake doesn't just share his weird obsessions in private. He would make a poll on his public YouTube channel asking his primarily young fans if he should post slightly NSFW Dandy's World content. Thankfully, the poll was voted no, but given the results, Jake would delete the poll altogether, where he would later comment on it stating, "I shouldn't even bring up NSFW here. Although I was serious about it, that poll was insensitive and I should have kept the idea to myself." And you can still see this community post on his channel to this day. He would also speak about this on Voice Call as well, and would go into disturbing detail about what he would have posted.
I heard he made a poll about Goob and Dandy or something.
That's correct.
What was in that poll?
I asked people if they wanted to see artwork of it.
Okay. What kind of artwork?
It was going to be by me.
I know, but like what kind of artwork?
I actually made a comment in the comment section saying that it would be Goob for saying Dandy to suck his dick.
So rape.
Yes.
So you made a poll asking your fans if they wanted you to draw a picture of Dandy's World characters raping each other.
Not drawing, but pretty much same point.
What, like a render?
Yeah.
Do you think most of your audience are kids?
Yes.
And did you know that when you made that poll?
Yes.
Jake hasn't just displayed this weird behavior online. He would even share his horrific ideologies to his own teacher. We will look more into this later. However, after saying and asking some very disturbing things to his own teacher, she would report him and he would be sent to a guidance counselor where he would openly admit to watching Con.
Have you gotten any help about this problem? It's like, are you going to a therapist? Are you seeing somebody about it? Like, do you know?
I have gotten, it's not really trouble, but I've been called out for it. During my high school days, there's this, I did it to myself, by the way. I was talking to teachers and I just got ahead of myself and they were concerned. So I was reported to a counselor, and the reason I don't think I wouldn't say I was like trouble is because like I was admitting my mistakes and I told them that I will like delete any sources of it, and they believed it.
You mean CP?
Yeah.
You've had CP saved?
Lolly.
So drawn CP.
Yeah.
And your teachers knew that you were doing that.
Yeah, but what they don't know is that I didn't really change. I basically shot myself in the foot by expressing myself too much. That's how they became concerned in the first place, and that led me to a counselor, like I mentioned. And from there, I lied how I would change, and they believed it. And basically, I kept enjoying Lolly like how I usually did on my phone.
He would also share a time when he told his parents about everything.
So you've never told your parents that you're just interested in kids?
I have told them that, but they didn't put much thought into it. They don't fully understand it.
However, looking back to his conversation with Balti, we can see him admitting that he wants NSFW content to be made of Shelly, who for context is a character from Dandy's world that is supposedly aged 13 to 16. This is how the conversation went. Before I go, do you think you could do a quick drawing for me? Where Balti can be seen replying with, yeah, like what? Where Jake can be seen requesting some very disturbing scenes of the underage character. Have Shelly's skirt pulled up. I want to see how you design her undies. She ain't the type to be commando. He would then go on to share his thoughts, expressing how he feels about the drawing, stating, oh, and I gotta say, the details are kinda insane. I noticed the... In the conversation between Jake and Balti, he can also be seen sharing his opinion on... Jake says, oh geez, it's... Where Balti would reply, do you not want it? Where Jake would be seen saying, nah, I love it. He would go on to say some even worse shit, but I think you guys get the point. I was also given some more proof against Jake from Bryce, like this screenshot where Jake can be seen saying, I kinda got another disturbing thing I like to view. I also take pleasure from seeing bodies, saying stuff like, it is okay, with an attached image of on, sharing more commenting, got one more for the night, sending Twitter to a more context to Jake's weird obsession with these, where he states, I also take pleasure from seeing bodies of women, specifically those pictures, telling his own teacher about his weird obsessions and trying to show her his NSFW art, admitting that he asked his teacher about her opinion on porn, asking his teacher about what her opinion is about. He would also say some really horror things about these 6 to 8 year old girls that went to his high school, reading, I can still determine what's attractive on the outside. They looked like twins or something, both had braids on each side, and were blonde, white girls. They're the kind of shit I like. Of course, I would imagine myself touching their small pussy. And when asked what age he thinks they were, he would say, wish I snapped a photo of them. They looked 6 to 8, man they were pretty. Saying even more completely disturbing and horrific things. Admitting that he told his parents about everything, stating, kinda came out to my mum that I'm a pedophile today. She didn't have such a big reaction as expected, but at the same time, it was kinda a boring interaction between us. Mentioning how his own parents somehow don't care that he is a before Jake had his Twitter permanently suspended for making jokes about everything he has done, he was pretty open about liking con along with other weird shit. But when compared to another from the Dandy's World community known as Rocks, it was apparently too far. At one point, Jake would even have his Discord pronouns set to child predator. He has also made many comments in the past like this where he says, that's why pedophiles, zoos, and should be accepted in today's society. And as far as solid screenshot evidence and voice admissions, that is mostly everything. However, if you want to have a look for yourself, I will be linking Bryce's full 2-hour-long video with all the messages and voice calls included. So check that out in the description if you want to double check or witness more of Jake's disturbing behavior. However, upon investigating this video, I would get into contact with Jake's quote, best friend, and ask him how he feels about the situation and what he did to try and stop Jake's behavior. He would say this.
So, I became friends with Jake around a year ago. I was playing Brawl Stars with one of my friends and I was put in a group chat. We were mutual. I think I met him around like February, March of 2024. Anyway, the point is I met him through a mutual friend through a game. At first, I really didn't like him. I found him to be extremely weird and creepy, especially because he had some really disgusting things to say, especially regarding and whatnot. I knew he was a sociopath ever since. I'm someone who believes in change, so I thought, okay, I can explain to him this stuff. So I remember like discussing for like over an hour about how the best thing to do is to honestly help someone, which I find, and the only interactions I've ever had was him being really egotistical. But the biggest thing to me why I became his friend is because he did change. Now this isn't saying that he is going to change, because I already know him. He's a pet. He won't change for shit. He was willing to change enough to the point, maybe it's because of the lack of social interactions or something like that, but he was willing to change, or at least not be as weird, to the point where I actually started playing with him a lot, like Brawl Stars, Roblox. We became really good friends. Like, we'd be playing almost every day. He had a really disgusting stance. If I knew that, I would have instantly. And it got to the point where he actually called me his best friend. One day he actually showed me in excitement that his YouTube channel was blowing up, and I was like, yo, that's amazing. And I sat and I looked at his videos and I told him like, hey, I really like these videos. Like you should make more. I really like the way you're going with it. Anytime he was doing something weird or anything that I didn't like, I feel like such a fool, but I was just explaining to him logically how shit doesn't happen like that. Like how shit, like for example, there's this one post that he made on his YouTube channel. It was like Goob X Dandy, and I felt so disgusted. I sent him like walls of text, just me being enraged, saying like, kids fucking watch you, chill the fuck out, or don't. Or just get off this f***ing platform or I'm cutting ties with you. He was a little weird, but anytime he'd have any difficulty regarding anything, like any drama, any controversy, whatever, I would straighten him out. I'd be like, hey, you gotta smarten up. Kids watch you. That's the biggest thing I said. I said, hey, I know even though you said in your channel that videos are not for kids, you gotta understand, Dandy's World is mainly a kid's game. You just can't be weird, especially in a public space. Every time he would say something weird, I remember it started at the OV video actually, where I told him like, that's really weird to post to kids, like you should not have posted that. And I said, I talked to him, and VC, I was like, hey, I recommend you delete this. I get that you have your own individuality and I don't want to take that away from you, but this is really cool video. But he said to me like, hey, like, I get your concerns, but it's not that bad. And then he showed me like examples of like other YouTube videos of like, I just remember seeing this really disgusting stuff, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Looking back on it, it was really, really bad. So I was essentially the one babysitting his YouTube channel. I was the one telling him constantly own up to your mistakes. Kids watch you. I don't know how many times I've said that. Kids watch you and you need to protect them with your life. I saw him do a lot of weird stuff, and then I think the real kicker when I really was thinking about cutting relationships is when he called me one time in voice chat, and he told me he liked lolly porn, actually. I remember feeling so disgusted by it, but I thought, you know what, Jake has changed probably in the past, so I'm guessing that if I explain to him logically that like, hey, this is not f***ing okay to consume, because even though these are fictional characters, it's in a very real and morbid state. But even so, I had patience and I explained to him for like an hour again why it's not great to consume. And then he told me like, hey, alright, I understand. And then he asked me, would you have thought I liked child before getting on the call? And I told him like, I thought you were weird, but I didn't think that you were really, creepy. And then I would ask him to send me like frequent updates, like weekly updates. And that's when the kind of truth really unraveled itself to me, where he told me one day, like, he will always tell the truth, which is what I thought before and what he's told me, that of all his morals, truth is the only one. Now, this is around the time when he started blowing up in Dandy's World, November 30th, so he started getting really big, and he got a sponsorship from Duolingo one time, and I was gonna be the only scriptwriter for it. I was gonna do everything. And then I came home one day, saw that Jake posted in the group chat that he got banned from Dandy's World and his YouTube channel was gone. And then I was through hell and back trying to help this dude. I was like with him, because you gotta understand, I was good friends with this for an entire year before I found out this he was exposed by Bryce and Jake was twisting it, as in he made some silly jokes and got permanently banned off the Danny's quote. Which at first I was like, kind of weird jokes, because he was saying Bryce was being freaky with Quill. I was like, that's kind of weird jokes, but I don't see how it could warrant the perma ban. And then I saw on the Twitter thing what really kind of shattered my view on him. He wasn't getting better. He was shifting his perverted desires onto actual people. I saw that he had an inappropriate joke with a 13-year-old about November, and I felt so appalled, but I was like, I'm so disappointed in you. I believe that he didn't think twice about his age, so I didn't think it was going to be anything serious. So I was just like, alright, that's really disgusting, and we will talk about this, but right now, let's try to finish everything. It was just one day when we were helping him, trying to get his channel back, and then he said, talking with Bryce, and then he said, oh my guys, I'm sorry for this new info, I am a and then he tells me that he Bolty, and at that point I was just like done, because at that point even if he's one of your closest friends, you just see him for what he is, and I saw him for a disgusting, perverted, sociopathic Jake exposed to me that he's been saps, and at that point I felt really just appalled, because my entire worldview shattered. I remember this dude as one of the best Chuck players on Brawl Stars, and a really good friend, and I was really thankful to have him as a friend. I just thought that he had some mental problems and needed someone to help him, which is why I explained every damn thing logically. I don't know if I talked about this, but he essentially said that was the fault of the victim, not the accuser. That was something I didn't realize. He texted in the group chat. That's kind of what he's admitted to me. And he also said he wants his sister to help him. I was talking to Bryce, and I just searched up anything by Jake, and I'm realizing how many twisted, disgusting things he's done. Frankly, I'm appalled. I don't think I need to explain this further, but I was given info about him from a mutual friend, and I realized just how much he's done to Bolty. No, he doesn't feel bad at all, like he said. He was just saying that to keep us as friends. When Jake got exposed for the previous things before getting exposed for being he didn't write his own apology. In fact, the apology he wrote on Twitter on everything wasn't him, it was me. Now I don't mean this as in oh, I'm covering for this, da 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 da. No, what I did is, I told him straight up hey, I know you can't articulate everything into words, so I was telling him how do you want, what do you want to say? And then eventually came up, and then when he was talking I realized that he just doesn't feel bad. Anytime Jake had anything wrong with him, I thought I could just explain it to him logically. And then I ended up writing the apology for him, which I really regret, because at the time, again, I assumed he was just a mentally ill, slightly creepy but overall good dude. This dude considered me like a gold mine, which I find really disgusting, because he doesn't give a shit about whatever he's done. He gives a shit about staying friends with me. Anytime he says he'll try, he just never does. He thinks he's making an effort, but he's just never, because I know him. He's the type of person to go it is what it is. In fact, he's told me many times that he can't control who he is. He can't do this, he can't do that. And at the time I was someone who you aren't someone who likes child. It's just something you manipulated yourself into thinking because you don't want to take the effort to get better. And now I realize that no, he was right, it is a part of himself. It's a really twisted, sick part that shouldn't even be breathing, but like I said before, I just felt really betrayed, disgusted, and the more I looked into his past, especially in the DMs and whatnot, I started realizing just how sick of a person he is. My other friend was telling me to be quiet about it because I don't want to, because it's better if I don't, come forward to, keep my privacy, but I just can't let it, roam the streets, especially in a prominent kids game. So I just came forward with everything to Bryce. At first I was nervous, but then I started realizing that Bryce has a really good moral compass. I kept being friends with Bolty so I could comfort her, because I wasn't necessarily, but I was heavily exposed to content. There's some really sick people in the world, and when I tried to comfort Volti, she showed me the messages, and she drew a lot of child art. I felt really disgusted with her as well, which is why I just cut contact with everybody. I don't know, I just feel really shaky and enraged whenever I think about that creep.
Jake's online best friend wasn't the only person close to Jake that I would get into contact with. Thankfully, I was able to also get an interview with someone that went to high school with Jake and was very close with him at one point. They would say this.
So how I became friends with Jake. Anyways, so I first met him in grade 10. We were paired up for a small exercise in class, and if my memory is correct, Jake and I were also in some group assignments together, but we didn't become close until grade 11. That's where we met again. And like last year, we were paired up for another project, where I first discovered he was using Roblox to animate for said project part. And we got in touch through Discord over the project to communicate, and we started talking. And this was after the project, so we kept talking, and I tried to make some kind of friendship with him. And yeah, basically we really started talking in DM after I complimented his Roblox creations. My experience being his friend. So, as I would describe it, it was kind of up and down. I wasn't really happy, more like, you know, sometimes it was kind of strange being his friend, obviously, like, admitting everything. First we talked, he started sending kind of questionable stuff. I think one of them, the first things he sent were, I think, ship art between characters that were kids or teens. I didn't think much of it, because, you know, I thought it wasn't that bad at first. I didn't know he was a self-identified until later, but, you know, I thought I could connect with him more because I also liked cartoons, and so we kept talking about that. Yeah, later down the line he admitted these thoughts, which was, I think, probably a little bit early into the relationship, approaching the middle. At the same time, he'd stay late up at night to ask me kind of questionable stuff that also made me question my safety, my family's safety. Kind of bad. He didn't do anything, but it was just very odd for him to ask. Yeah, once I saw him, the proof from Bryce talking to Jake as the Dandy's World drama was heating up, he was quite egotistical and kind of arrogant, which I can also confirm that in our relationship he was quite like that. He was really judgy and blunt, which didn't really make me that happy during the relationship, but I didn't question it too much. I thought it was just how he was. He sent a lot of to me, and I know now to others as well, his friends. This included Ron, child pornography between teenagers, kids, even a baby. Other type of gore, like a lot of the shit he was sending was like morally bad, taboo. He even wrote fanfics of an assault on underage characters. There's this like one show I remember. There's a character named Molly McGee, and basically it was just her probably getting assaulted by a friend of hers or something, or them, you know, having intercourse or something. I don't really remember. It was really gross. Yeah, he also made very renders of Brawl Stars, and even wrote fanfics about characters that are underage who are getting assaulted. He admits like a lot of his fantasies. One was which I think he'd like to look at dead bodies or think about them, autopsies, and he said he got off to them. Other times he even saw these twin girls on the bus and admitted to me that he wanted to like touch them and stuff, really inappropriate things. I think one thing outside of all this fantasy was something he said in school, which was admitting to his, actually no, not admitting, but questioning his teacher about his thing just to get, you know, gratification from asking. So he asked something like the teacher's opinions on incest and really morally questionable things that made her contact the counseling suite, and so I had to get called down there after he did, because he'd made all those things, and the teacher was concerned about his safety and his like mindset and stuff. Most The most important thing I want is to justice to be served, obviously. And I knew from the start, Jake probably wouldn't change at all, even if I had consoled him once, saying, "Oh, you're gonna go down the wrong path if you continue, you get in trouble." And I was kind of right. I checked on him a while later just because I was curious, and yeah, this is how this whole thing escalated into the Dandy's World stuff. Yeah, if you have the VC recording of Bryce and Cyber questioning him, you can clearly see he gets a lot of gratification from things he's done. He's not really sorry for it. Yeah, he admits he doesn't want to change, even if he was caught. And nothing's really stopping him psychologically, I think, in my opinion. The only things that are stopping him are physical, which are the police, his fans, and not sure about therapy, but he says he's getting a therapist, so yeah, I'm not sure.
And I wish that was it for the case of Jake, but it's not. He has also made multiple concerning community posts talking about his behavior. Like in this one, he would subtly admit to something but wouldn't directly state what it was. The community post read, "Okay, I did another stupid thing. Long story short, made fan art of someone and I had to take it down for obvious reasons. Reminded to make a DNI list somewhere like the channel bio. My apologies." Which I'm not 100% sure on what he is referencing, but it certainly can't be good. Jake would also update his fans that he is seeing a psychologist about his behavior. I'm not too sure if he has followed up on this, however, he is still active to this day. Jake has also deleted many community posts as well. However, we only have 2 of them archived as of now. Like this one where he admits to roleplaying with underage characters, adding, "I've messed myself up too much." Or this post where Jake openly admits to owning possible illegal NSFW content and stating, "Deleted all NSFW content from my files. I don't care how legal or illegal it was." Someone would comment on Jake's community post saying, "Astro restoring the stamina of the children so they can run away from you," where Jake can be seen replying with, "I'll hit eject button to catch up." And for context, this was less than 48 hours ago as of recording. So to this day, Jake is still joking about his disgusting actions on this platform, making a claim that all his behavior is mistakes in a reply that read, "Can't let them stop me that easily. Stay positive and avoid my mistakes." And even if Jake wants to prove that these are all fake, we have endless screen recordings that support the evidence provided. Another instance I would like to talk about is a video Jake posted to his YouTube channel on the 17th of October 2024. Jake would post to YouTube a very suggestive animation of characters from Dandy's World, specifically the character V, who is a 25 to 29-year-old adult, and Shelly, who is a 13 to 16-year-old child. After being exposed, Jake has since been using his TikTok in order to message his fans. This is the TikTok page he is currently using that is going under a completely different alias and is privated. This was also provided to me by Jake's closest online friend. However, Jake would eventually respond to all of these allegations in a Google document that he posted to Twitter. Before we look into what exactly he said, I want to show this video that proves the document was posted from Jake's official account. This was provided to me from Shinzu. Jake would start the apology off by saying this: "My YouTube started way back. However, everybody knows me as a Dandy's World animator, most known for Hunters. I've said inappropriate comments towards my spread NSFW to my sent hate speech at Blush Crunch, manipulated / a person working for me, and stole / profit from models not by me. First things first, the provided screenshots are all in a Discord server specifically for Dandy's World YouTubers." Jake would then go on to show the comments he made towards Quell and Bryce, stating, "I made several derogatory comments towards Bryce and Quell. These were wrong because I was using derogatory language which indirectly attacked their personal relationships. I overstepped boundaries more than once when talking to these people. I'm sorry for this because it was a series of gross backtalking to the creator of Dandy's World, which is what I relied on to make my content." He would then talk about the inappropriate comments he made towards a 13-year-old that I mentioned earlier in the video, stating, "They used questionable emojis, but that absolutely gave me no right to encourage it with an inappropriate reply like that. Even apologizing for commenting on a person who has a relationship. Them being an adult like me does not excuse comments like that. They have boundaries just as important as any anybody else, providing proof to back up the allegations made against him. He would also go into more detail about how he would steal models that he used in his videos. I've stolen toon models, twisted models, textures, and decals for myself, and even shared them for more people to use them illegally. I'm going to skip this part of the apology, as it isn't really relevant considering the much more serious allegations that are made against him, if you can even call them allegations. Anyway, he would speak on the very inappropriate video he posted to his YouTube channel stating, "I used them to make NSFW shown in an animation named OV. Again, I acted in the worst way possible when Bryce confronted me about it. I guilt tripped and was extremely defensive. I was more concerned if I would be able to make more similar content instead of the underlying issue of what I am exposing minors to, essentially normalizing it." He even spoke on the time he got a fake sponsorship reading. "I was fully planning to use the models of Blush Crunch to make a video which contained a sponsorship. I was also aware of the wrong of this. I did not ask for permission or even ask about anything suspicious in general." Adding a disclaimer that read, "Bryce had no connection to my Google account getting hacked at all. I am to blame for losing my YouTube." He would also admit to, while talking about the situation with Balti reading, "They worked for me starting from the Hunters animation. We were very close and comfortable with each other. I shared NSFW with them, made them feel safe, and rewarded money to keep their trust. Yes, I took advantage of them being 15 and my fame." Adding that, restating the DMs with Bryce, "I was fully aware of what I was doing, but felt no remorse due to it all being taken place in private messages, and also the fact that Zaps told me she didn't care. A lot has happened in a few days, and now I regret everything I have done to her. In hindsight, I realized how messed up what I was doing and wish to never do it again." Finishing off his apology reading, "I am sorry to the entire Dandy's World community, including myself, to the people who I affected, from the fans who had to implications on YouTube. I am deeply sorry to these people too. Being the fastest growing YouTuber, I was blinded by fame and was idiotic, making rapid decisions. The purpose of this document is not to ask for forgiveness, but to raise awareness and show my true colors that I am a danger to the community. Being the person behind it all, this is the best thing for me to do. Following the wishes of the community, I will exile myself and be gone. Going forward, I will seek help from therapy as well as think about not repeating this terrible behavior. Happy New Year. I genuinely hope for everybody else, especially the victims, to stay safe. May the next one be better." However, what if I told you that the entire apology wasn't even written by Jake? Well, you would be right, as the online best friend of his that I interviewed earlier came out saying, yeah, his entire apology was written by me. I didn't expect him to copy and paste it of all things. However, after the apology, Jake would admit on the voice call with Bryce and Void that he is willing to potentially change alias and move channels in order to continue his disgusting behavior.
So you know that, but you're still banking on the idea that you'll just make a new channel and keep doing what you're already doing?
Yes, but difference is I'll try my best to avoid like them.
Oh, so the difference between you and those people is that you'll do a better job hiding.
However, still wants to stay in the Dandy's World community.
Because I love Dandy's World. Dandy's World is the reason I blew up in YouTube, right?
But what do I personally think of all this? Well, Jake is obviously a very up person, but he clearly suffers from one or multiple mental illnesses that stop him from realizing what he is doing is so wrong, and would also explain why he has no remorse for his actions no matter how many people confront him, whether it's his own parents or another YouTuber. Jake just doesn't quite realize what he is doing, which is not an excuse in the slightest. I think that Jake should be locked up in prison, or at the very least locked in a psychiatric hospital where he can potentially get help. But to say he deserves freedom after everything he has said and done, I cannot agree with. He is actively making it an unsafe environment for kids wherever he goes, whether that is online or in his day-to-day life. Because of how truly disgusting of a person Jake is, I decided to contact some people who I know that would be able to help me get into contact with Jake's local police and to possibly get a welfare check, or even reach out to his parents who would ultimately be able to help or stop Jake's disgusting behavior. But that's it for the most hated Roblox YouTubers of January January 2025. We are already seeing people get exposed in the first week of February, and I fear that it's only going to get worse from here on out. But as always, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy content like this, please make sure to subscribe. And if you want to watch something similar to this, click the video on screen now.